Okay, we are in Kuftes Vav Sif Gimel and discuss about chema of butter of Ovik Chavim. Chema shel Ovik Chavim ain't moichin anshe hamakom shenogim bo heter. It's ein moichin. If they have a het, if they are knowing a heter, it's ein moichin. It's mashma. It's mashma from the Mechaber that he doesn't hold the lechachila. Lechachila, you should be makbid on it. Because they weren't, however, the reason why the Gemara said they weren't goyzer is because it's sort of a raya, mafreya, that since other milks don't separate. I didn't look into the camel thing, but since other milks don't separate, so then butter would be fine. V'im rov bnei hamakom noagim iser ein l'shanos. Because if rov hamakom is noagim iser, then they shouldn't change that. When she'ein minig, and when there's no minig at all, which I don't know if you know of vade minig nowadays, minhagim, or I don't know what. She'ein minig in bishla ad shehalchu tzuchi achalav b'teres. If you boil it, if you cook it until all the bits of milk, float up or completely separated, so then it's okay. And even let's say if you're allowed to, even it's not called bavatal isur chachila. You're allowed to go ahead and cook it to separate it. And if a goy cooks it, it's okay because we rely on the fact that stam kelim einam bnei yoman.
Cooking it, you're being bar that
You're the chash over here. The ones who are machmir. It's still, let's say, enechanami. It's true that it won't that treif milk won't separate, but maybe he did mix it, and there's still bits. The parts aren't separated. There's still bits which are floating around of treif milk. That's the whatever. And I guess if you cook it, then any other bits of the milk, of like the white milk, whatever, it will separate, and you'll be able to move out.
you're trying to do a barrier that this is kosher milk.
Yeah.
You're trying to remove traces from this milk.
It seems like it's a chash trefus. It seems like.
What about tam and bittel and the bishul?
It could be because it's only it could be the little bits, or it's only a chash anyway. So if there's few little bits, it'll be bottled anyway. You're right. I see what you're saying. Like what's going on over here. The other shaila, which Moshe talks about, a couple of the nakudas here. We'll continue in a minute. Yeah. Right. Is a discussion about Moshe of the truth about the whey. Okay, here we're talking about there's a heter on the buttercream, and to make butter. But what about whey? Is whey mutter? And this is a whole discussion in the place scheme about are you mavar about the whey?
So whey is like one step down from buttercream, closer to milk.
No, whey is a separated liquid left over.
So it's
it separates the cream and the whey is what the.
So it's very close to milk.
It's not close. It's completely. It's completely. I mean, it's. I don't know what to call it. It has a lot of protein in it, but so it could be. Look the chor from here, like the butter would be mutter, so to the whey would be mutter because it's
not the milk.
Yeah, it's not the milk. You see that it's kosher. I think the shilas are was more chashas of there being bits of, if there was Nachal Yisrael, Chashash being there bits of milk in there and not in the buttercream, because the buttercream separates and goes up. I didn't look at the tshuva, I looked it up quickly, but I think that's part of the shaila. I do know, what is interesting is we had before in Hilchos Ever Ben Achai, there's a shita which holds that if you get rid of all the tzachsuchei chalav, then whey might be Ever Ben Achai, because it's not milk anymore. So there's also, it's not so pashut. It seems like it seems like there's what.
Why would that be true about whey and not about butter?
because butter's an ikr, that's under the heter of chalav. We had this before, Ever Menachai. Chalav is mutter, it's not Ever Menachai. But if you go ahead and take all the qualities of chalav, you're left with, besides the protein they put into drinks and stuff, but then they found a use for it nowadays, and maybe therefore maybe I don't know if it would change, but Al Pani, it was the way it was just gotten rid of. I mean, it was nothing to do with it. It's just like water. Um, so then it would then the din of the heter of the chalav of Eir Menachai goes on the butter and not on the. Even the whey was okay. They said if you took all the bits of milk out, so it's just water basically, some like leftover water. Then there was one shita hold that's Eir Menachai. So whey is not it's not so pashut, especially because there's a lot more. Like I said, there's a lot more bits that could be left in it. Discussion in the poskim about yogurt. It's machlokes actually. The Shach says that based on the Gemara where kutach of the kachavim is mutter, that kutach is a type of fermented milk. So a lot of poskim Ramekel will say that fermented milk, meaning yogurt and certain lebanon and things like that, would be okay. There are those who are machmir if it's not chalav Yisrael. Kaddish, Russia says kaddish and the cream cheese, things like that are under chalav. They're not under butter, because their milk was just, you put something in to machmir or sour cream, you machmitz it a little bit. You could put lemon juice and make your own. I don't know, whatever. So therefore that's not considered separating it. That's just called curdling it, and that's not. That would be under the heter of chalav Yisrael. Wouldn't get into the problem of gvina. It wouldn't be chema either. Right. So one second.
But with cheese, it would still be okay.
Or if you not makbid on chalav, if you have that use the heter of Moshe, then it would be under the heter of that also. You can buy kaddish and things like that. If you go from a place that doesn't eat it to a place that eats it, you can eat with them. There's no din of a chumri hamakum shehalach l'sham, because it's a minig ba'alma. Betzem meikar din, it's mutter. So therefore, even if in your place they're machmir, so there it doesn't. Then you could still eat it if you go to someplace else. However, if you go to a place where they don't eat it, you can't bring butter over there. I mean, you can't eat. I don't know if it means in private or it means in public. Unless you have a big thing showing that it's from if it's from my place. It's from it was made in made in Strasbourg. Whatever it is. That you can tell where they came from. Also the achel. However, it's also to eat it. It'd be also to eat it there. And some say it's so too. Nami asura feel yesh heker, and some say even there is a heker, it's still also because it is a makom she. And in that case, if it's if you're in a place that everyone's knowing Yisr and I'm knowing Heter, it's a problem because it's got to do with things like that. I guess it would be the same idea as if on Pesach, if they're by a tish and a Sephardi person will pull out some rice and start eating, it would be or gebrach. You pull out gebrachs. It would be a story of someone told me there's a Sephardi person eating. He was eating by a tish by a rebbe, and he crumbled some matzah into the soup. It was by the table. 2 seconds later, suddenly heard chumitz, 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 and all the chassidim jumped up and he knew what was going on and quickly wrapped up the tablecloth. Rid of it. So whatever, you have to be careful about these things. Hachi nog, and this is the minig. Now the truth is that nowadays with the poskim say with butter, it's still like they say nowadays they put additives in. It's not true butter. They coagulate it differently, and it's not true butter. So you can't rely on the heter of butter of Nachal Yisrael butter unless you know it's really like you're in a smaller place. It's not a big company. It needs a hechsher. Our Shulchan even brings. He said that that people were eating butter. Turns out the butter was actually lard that they were marketing as butter. And he said you can't the minute you have to unless you have you needs to have a hechsher. Question is if you have a hechsher and Zachal Yisrael, so that already that would depend on the that it could be, there is much more room to be made. You don't need actual butter to be Chol of Yisrael unless you're in a place which is the Yisr, which I don't know. I don't know if it has a hechsher, then pashas it's okay. But if it's if you're in a place where everyone's knowing to eat Eretz Yisrael, people don't eat non-chal Yisrael, so it gets so therefore it gets to eat they brought into European stuff sometimes. You have to mevar if there's that proper hechsher on it. I don't know. Uncle Panim, that's the. I mean, that's here. I think that's what we'll finish with. No, not stopping, but the simin. It's a bit complicated, but Baruch Hashem. We'll move on to Kufta Zayin, which are the Dvarim Musakonim. Now, in Dvarim Musakonim, the best sefer it can't even have in your house because everyone has shilas in this. Is Shmiras Agufa Nefesh for Rav Lerner. That he covers every single thing in depth. Anything you can think of, anything anyone talks about, he covers. So Talmud Hagim also deals with it. A bit more Chassidish Chassidish derech, but Akum
What is that?
what the Shmiras Agufa Nefesh is Rav Lerner.
The other one you said.
Oh, Tamim and Hagim. No, Tamim and Hagim is Tamim and Hagim. But the Rav Lerner's he does a great job. Achopanim, the thing with a lot of stuff with sakana and gzeras and stuff is that the Gra usually says Tosis often says nowadays it doesn't apply. And the Gra often says that's the Tamagoloi, but the Tama Nistar, this Tama Nistarim, then that still applies. So mashkim shenizgalu asu chachamim. If you had left liquid drinks or something, water open, maybe a snake came in, poisonous snake came in, drank from it, and left poison him. Aras. Mutter nowadays, there are no nachashim. It is mutter. Like I said, the Gra says that Achopanim, there are other Dvarim. The story is very makpid. Prichadosh says in Middle Eastern countries you should be makpid. The Gzeira never stopped. Chazanish Taka says it was makpid. He said a person should be makpid in Eretz Yisrael. Now again, that was in his time when things weren't settled. However, I always say here in Rapi Chemish, when they started building over here, actually right behind over here, they hit a snake pit, and one of my neighbors found a viper wrapped around their broom. And there were vipers around the area. So the emphasis is that in a more settled area, you're right, but there are snakes around in Eretz Yisrael. To tell you should be machbet on Gilui, I don't know. If you go through the halachas, you see that you can be samach on the fact. It says that cats eat snakes, and there's in the halacha in the Gemara. So if there are cats around, you could be samach on that. I don't know if snakes can go upstairs. So it could be if you live upstairs. I think I talk about it. That you have to look through the Torah brings all the halachos, and there are it's kind of go through because there are people who are machbid, and we are machbid by yayin, for kiddush and for avdallah. So if you know all these halachos and you leave it open, you have to. If there's a shomer, it's okay. If everyone goes outside, you can't use that wine for kiddush. It's because of mayim magulim. So it's something which that we are machbid on. So it's something it is kedai to go ahead and to know a few of the halachos to know. When it could be mutter or not. Like I said, there are different, many aterim, and but there are people who are makbid on it.
If it has a cover, then it's not Megillah?
That's fine. Yeah, a cover is.
What is the cover?
I didn't go into it. You have to look it up. I think as long as the snake can't easily, if it's covered and you see that it came uncovered, then you have to be choshish. But the cover isn't the same. You see something, someone moved it. It doesn't. The snake's not going to put the cover back.
Google says it's seriously proof difficult for some snakes, but if the reptile is determined, it will reach its objective.
So I don't know. Now, Kopanim, like the Gemara says, Mayayim Megulim, it says that's why goyim are goyim drink mayim Megulim, and they say with good wines you have to air it out. So if you leave the barrel open and air it out, it's Yayim Megulim. So you have to be careful if you air out for kiddush. If you air out your nice wine, that someone has to be in the room when you do it, or the next room could be is also okay, but you have to just keep that in mind. And yeah, I'm sure like Tamim Nistarim, you can talk about Nechoshim and wine. I'm sure there's Ramozi into Nachash Kadmoni and the Ramozi into wine with the Eitz Hadas with wine. I'm sure there's, a person doesn't need a lot to think about to see that where things begin. But I don't know.
Where do you find that wrong?
I don't know if it's here or somewhere else. It's a grow you do. I couldn't. It's not here, but it's in other places. I don't know. Fine. Sif Beis. Tzarech lizar shel lechol basar v'dag biyachav ben shekosher l'tzaras. We've had this before. That's also to eat meat and fish together. Hagava ain't chenin litzos basar in dag mishum reicha. You shouldn't. Even obviously they're touching. It's something. Even they're not touching. Reicha miu b'di'evet aser. Because even though it is also, even though we're makbid on it, but it's not so common, and we don't even know what taras is. We don't know what kosher taras means. What's interesting is some sefer says, asked, do you need a separate kalim? And he says no. He says for fish. He says no. He says the Rambam doesn't mention this. He says the Rambam, who was a baki in refuah, natural refuah, whatever, he doesn't mention basar v'dag. So upon him, he held at his time it wasn't anything to worry about. So that's where he says. Some sefer says you can make it. Malchum tzarich, you can be making a lot on wiping your plate off and things like that. You don't have to go. You don't have to go crazy about it because it probably doesn't apply so much anymore.
I was told that if fish and meat were served together, all you have to do is just separate them.
I mean, if they're not cooked, they're cooked together. If they're just stuck on top of each other,
Something like that.
it could be. But if the juices mix, tzarech lizar, it's still better. It's still better not to. It's still better not to. Yirchoitz yadav bein basel dag. It's better to call mayim and tzayim to wash your hands in between. Yochel pas shorim and tank leluchotz piv and to eat some bread. That's why the Shabbos people usually do that, or they have l'chaim, things like that. Hagal yesh orin de'ein lachu shel you really don't have to do it. But only if you cook them together for achlan. But to eat one after the other ain't lachush. And then you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry so much about this whole din. All right. You don't have to wash your mouth out, nor do mayim and tzayim. Although I think there are chassidim very machbid. I do think there's tamim al pi kabbalah and different things. But you should eat something in between and drink something. You can drink water. It doesn't need to be whiskey. That's for Onik Shabbos, I guess. So you don't have to worry about that.
Isn't the ketosis that it says you should use water? Because you'd be mats and
Yeah, okay, fine. So right, okay. Tzarech lizayer mizeas ha'adam shekol zeas ha'adam sahem aves chutz mizeas ha'panim. Person has to be very careful not to to be sure that you don't eat any sweat from a person. Also, if you touch it, you have to wash your hands. Ruach ra, and I don't know what except zeas ha'panim is okay. Someone I remember hearing a Rav speak once as he was by a simcha to America, and he went into the kitchen to check, to see the hashkacha, see what's going on. And he said he walked in, he saw, they were mixing the salad for the simcha, and this big guy without a shirt on, like this, mixing the salad. He was like, came out like, don't eat the salad. And they use in this big restaurant, they use their arms and they do whatever. Akol Panim, if there's a shiloh by when they're making matzahs, if the sweat drips into the matzahs, is that machmitz? As long as it's Zeif it's okay. You can, I don't know if it's machmitz, but you don't have to worry about sakana. I'll just before we get to the next sif, I'll do it tomorrow, I guess. But just mention in general, klal. We'll get into shilas about what Shorem P'sayim Hashem is. What is the klal of Tim Dedoshu Barabim Shorem P'sayim Hashem? Is for example, I remember someone asked someone here in Bet Shemesh, they were living under high power lines, and yeah, the Yoreh, and there were a lot of multiple births, twins and things. So they sent a shot to Reb Chaim. Should we be worried about it? And he said, "Sure, I'm saying Hashem. You don't have to." But there's certain sakanas which are. I heard a share of like around 10%, something like that. Something which is there is a chashash, but it's not a strong chashash. Maybe 10%, maybe 5%. I don't remember exactly. Then you can say a klal Shem P'sayim Hashem. You don't have to worry about every single danger. Kodesh Baruch Hu, you can be samech at Kodesh Baruch Hu, certain amount of bitachon. Kodesh Baruch Hu is not going it will let you go and let things go. So now there's a lot of like these like backward, I don't know, things, vaccines and I don't know, whatever. I'm not getting into politics, but Akum Panim, I don't know, but since most people use vaccines and most people are okay, Akum Panim, you can go with Shorem P'sayim Hashem. With not just you have to worry about every single sakana in the world. If people use it, most people are okay. A person can be samech on nothing's going to happen. That's a gather of bitachon. It's not, we'll get into the next it talks about sakanas and things. But al kolpanim, there's a certain that's a certain gather that people can you can live your lives and not be worried about everything.